So, if you happen to be installing Dri-core brand subfloor panels in a basement or some such, they're the ones that are like, they're at 2 and something, not quite 3 feet on each dimension, they're square. They're tongue and groove, you know, tongue on 2 sides and then groove on 2 sides. And they look like this one. They make another one that's like blue on the bottom. It's like a higher end one, but this is sort of the standard one. About around here, they're about $6.75 a piece, I think. $6.50, $6.75 a piece. Anyway, if you're doing these, they tell you when you're installing them to leave a 1/4 inch gap around the, you know, at the walls. So I cut some 1/4 inch strips out of 2x4. This is actually like leftover from a porch project, and they were actually longer pieces. I just put them down. I kind of figured fewer longer pieces better, and you know, and basically go like that, and then butt to it. Well, that's all well and good, but you can already sort of see what's happening when I put it there. Initially, it was sort of willing to lay flush against the wall, right? When you butt this against it, and you know, when the first tile goes up against it, it's not so bad. As you put others behind it and on the other side of it, and you start pounding them together with a block and a mallet, you know, every time you do that, you're whacking this one harder towards the wall, and you can see it. It's sort of because of the gap at the bottom of the sheetrock, in the height of the lip, proportional to that, it's pushing the bottom of this in a little bit, essentially pinching this in here, binding it in here in a lot of places. I just went to, having finished the first room that I did here, I went back to pull the spacers out. I kind of figured I should leave them in until I was done, because you're still applying the same force in the same direction all the way across, you know, because the tongues are all on the same side, the grooves are all on the same side. You're still pounding, like, well, for me it was like sort of away from me, up, I guess, and to the left, as I moved away from the, what you could call the upper left corner of the room, towards the lower right corner of the room. I was, you know, as I'm driving them, I'm still driving them in those same 2 directions, towards my left and towards my up or front or whatever. So came time to get those things out of there. Holy cow. I really thought for a minute that I was going to have to, like, you know, pop the last row out to create some slack, and then start kicking, you know, like shoe kicking them to try to, like, slide the whole floor a tiny bit. Because you can't, that's another thing. The last row, they say use like a pinch bar to, like, pry against the wall to put in. Well, that's all well and good if you don't have, like, you know, this is like 20-year-old sheetrock that's had water damage in some places, and it's, I mean, at best, how much of the prying surface is sheetrock, for Christ's sakes? I mean, come on. It's at the bottom edge, too. So, I've done it in some spots with kind of a bouncy motion, like, with this guy here, and actually with that end, I get that in there and just like, boop, 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 or maybe with this end, boop, 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 just real gentle. I mean, because obviously, you know, if you just lean on the thing and to suck it in, it's going to crush the sheet, especially if the tongue or the groove of that particular piece is, you know, anything other than pristine, which is easy for it to happen because it's OSB board. You know, then you got to put a little more force on it to get them to mesh. And, you know, if you're pushing against a stud or, you know, plywood or whatever, anything other than sheetrock, great. But I mean, you know, like when you watch the videos from the website or whatever, they show it installing it, it's always in some, like, you know, just built house or just stripped out and renovated. Excuse me, situation like that where, you know, you got a completely bare basement, not a thing in there except, you know, utilities and whatever, maybe a few alley columns or something. So, you know, the guys, they take their time showing you how to, like, do the, you know, the first, you know, the edge and everything like that, and then blam, the rest of it goes in, and of course, you know, it's always a perfectly square rectangular room with no weird angles or juts out, or, you know, you don't get. I'm talking about shit like this, like, you know, if you have pre-existing doorways that you're working around, then yeah, you're gonna have to clearance like everything. I use one of the pole saws, the Japanese style pole saws that the blades reverses. But I had to do, you know, both sides in the whole door casing, I guess, of both sides of 5 doors. Well, kind of 6, but 5 for sure. And you know, it's not the end of the world, but it's just like, well, I mean, if you don't do that, the other option would be to put the flooring in and, you know, cut it around this. That sounds like a way shittier deal to me. Trying to transfer all those, you know, no, no, that would, And if you did that, then you're locking this in with the floor. So if you ever want to change this trim for whatever reason, you had to take it out for something, or for anything, that means it's going to be stuck behind the goddamn floor. That would be a treat. I'd rather have this. To me, it makes more sense to have the two things be free. Take the time and the pain in the butt to do it now, so that later, it's not like the whole thing's locked together like a Lego house. Another thing is, this is the last. I started in that corner up there, behind those shelves there, having to move stuff as I go, working this way. When I got to here, this is essentially the what would be the last row, right? So I had to cut them. So when you do that, you lose the groove. Obviously, you get a flat edge. Well, that seems all well. It seems like no problem because there's a wall there, right? Well, then you get to here, and part of this one, and all of this one. I believe that's the joint. Yeah, there's a joint right here. So you get all of this one, a little bit of that one, and a tiny bit of that one. You have facing here with no groove in it. And the floor is going to continue on down this hallway to the rest of the cellar here. So, what the hell am I supposed to do about that? Do I just butt it? Do I cut the tongue off the mating ones and just butt it? I mean, there's nothing to... I guess what I could have done is instead of... Oh, this would have been such a pain in the ass. I could have cut this one so that it came out here to the full end, and same thing with this one. But then you're starting down the hallway with coming through the doorway. You'd have it jutting out to here. So that means what? You got to cut a strip to go in here. So you got to use a whole piece. You got to use the whole corner, like the corner of the tile where there's the two tongues meet. There's only one of those spots on each. There's only one upper left corner of each panel, right? So for just this, you'd have to. Just this strip here, which would be left bare because the board only comes through here, you'd have to use one to get up in here. So you would have the... No, actually, you couldn't even do that. You'd have to do the other side. You'd have to do the side so that two grooves showed, so the next one could tuck into it. See, this is but nonetheless, using a 3-inch wide strip with the groove off of a $7 flooring panel, which essentially renders the rest of the thing useful for maybe one thing, because you still have the other two edges, but not usable as anything close to a whole bit. Essentially, you're going to end up throwing away a lot of panels with the tongue and groove edges, or not just necessarily edges, but offcuts that you have to throw away that aren't usable because they don't have sufficient tongue and or groove to lock in. Now, some of them you will be able to use for, edges, borders, whatever. But initially, the way that they told you to calculate. They take the square footage and divide it by 3.3, and that will give you how many you need. Because they're I think they're 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. And they say using that formula will account for, the average number of, offcuts and obstructions. But I mean, first of all, what the hell is an average number of obstructions and offcuts for a cellar? I mean, what's an average cellar? That's it's a friggin' pretty ethereal concept, oh, the average cellar has this many. What? How is that done? You survey 100,000. Come on. I mean, yeah. I suppose you could look at blueprints for 1,000 different houses built in the maybe the 100 most common house blueprints over the last 20 years. Look at them. Great, that's the blueprints. That's not going to take into account shit like this that could have been done after the fact. If the basement was finished after, I think a lot of times people don't put stuff like this in the beginning like they should. It's after they have finished their basement and then water comes and they say, oh my god, everything got ruined. We should do something about it. And then put down some crappy sealant, and then it happens again the next year or a year later, and then everything gets ruined again, and then, after that happens a few times, finally they say, you know what, we really should just spend the money on the good stuff like this, like they've been using in Europe and particularly England, I guess, for ages, because they've been dealing with water there, for so long. So, point being that I think a lot of people, I'd be willing to bet, at least in this country, that the majority of people that use this system on a floor are doing it as a retrofit install in the basement. And there's nothing at all in any of the literature or the website or anything of this company to give you any kind of either help with dealing with some of these, maybe calculating to have more of them than you would otherwise if you're fitting around if you're in an unfinished basement, divide the square footage by this. If you're in a finished basement, divide it by this. That kind of thing. I'm sure they can figure that shit out. But obviously they're trying to keep that number that you come up with as, regarding how many you need as low as possible. They're not going to say divided by, you know, 1.2, because then you can, it's like, once I got 100 square feet and I need almost 100 panels, holy crap, it's 6 and change a piece, that's insane. I mean, definitively, people are turned off by the price of this stuff. It doesn't, it's at Home Depot and it rarely moves. The first stack of these that I got from Cheapo Depot, the homeless death spot, it was pretty apparent that that stack had been sitting there for quite a while, to the extent that I had to pick through the entire pile to get, I had to pick through a pile of like probably 150 to get 40 that didn't have the edges bashed in. People run into carts and forklifts and shit like that. And when I went back another time to get a bigger stack, it ended up being like a full pallet's worth plus like 30. So I thought, well, that's awesome. The guy can pull a pallet down for me. The guy said, yeah, I'll get you a fresh one, no damage, no nothing. Even that one, like from being in the warehouse or whatever, you could see one spot in it where there was right at about pallet height. I'm sorry, right about pallet thickness in one spot, and that there was, like a slight indent on the grooves on one side. So they're still usable, but they're going to be a little harder to put in. And I'm probably going to have to give them a little fluff them up before they go in, which is some bullshit. Anyway, yeah. So that's, I don't know, some issues with the Dri-core. I really, once it's in, man, it's good. It's nothing beats it. I don't think. It's along with the water protection from water and such. It has a drastic insulating effect. I mean, if anyone that's ever stood on a concrete floor in a basement, in cool weather, knows what a huge heat drain that it can be. Even if they have, carpet or something on top of it. But you get this, there's stuff 7/8 thick. You get this 7/8 thick on top of the concrete with the, the air layer underneath the plastic matrix, and then the wood. The OSB. It's a huge, like walking into this room. So in the same heat system as the other side, it feels like 5 degrees warmer in here. So this is the first room I did, because I started over there in that corner. Yeah, which was great. Right away, like full panel. Oh, you're supposed to stagger them too, which that's another issue. You see the stagger in the joints, which makes sense. So I went to, when I was doing over there, I said, okay, let me cut a half dozen half panels, so that when I go to, as I'm weighing the rows down, because it was, there's no weird angles there. I thought, it should go quick. I'll have my halves cut. I'll just slap them in. Every other row, have a half on each end of that row. Well, when I cut the half panels, I cut them super accurately, like to the half, which I realized shortly thereafter that's completely unnecessary. The idea of staggering them isn't to make them exactly. It's not like brickwork where you want it to, for aesthetics. You want it. That doesn't forget. It's just to get so the seams or the joints of the panels are not lined up. That's the only reason. So now, if I have a piece already that's an offcut that will work and is close to half, I just use that. As long as it doesn't line up the, as long as it doesn't line up the seams, and the one you butt to it won't line up the seams, then hey, it's a winner. So like this, I mean, that's completely sufficient. That's fine, It's not a boat, for Christ's sakes. So, but some shitty angles here. Not terrible, but there are some angles down here. I see very clearly that someone besides me was working in here on this, because what the fuck is this? Full panel. Strip. So like, what the fuck, man? I think Jackie's been playing around in here. I know she put one. Yeah, see, therein lies the problem. Well, oh my gosh, she's getting now you get the groove on this side. And Jesus, it's supposed to be. I mean, the way the rest of this has been done is it's tongue, groove. So what do you do to when I started in the upper left corner, it's tongue. So now because of this flat cut side here, she butted the groove to it, presumably, so there wouldn't be a gap from the tongue, which wouldn't even be the end of the roll if there was. And this is just a fucking strip with one tongue on it, holding it in. That's it. Yeah, I'm installing a Ford that's gonna have my name on it when I leave. That don't fucking fly, man. That's what happens if they put they stretch the carpet onto this, and because of that, you know, because this is right at the end of the wall. So you have no definitive attachment here. It's not like you can put screws in it and shit, you know, no attachment. So you stretch the carpet to here with the tag strip here, and you get a considerable amount of tension. So what's this going to do? Like, is it going to stay at a flat, or is it going to go? That'd be real cool, right? The carpet installer, you know, stretches the carpet and says, "Hey, lady, come here. I don't know what's up with your sub floor here, but it's like hinged or some shit, you know." Yeah. And who's that going to land on? Me? Or some fucking rando that came in here when I wasn't around, didn't say anything to me, and just fucking decided to slap a few of these in. Honestly, I didn't notice until just now. Like, I knew that she'd done a couple over there. I thought, that's fine. I mean, she did it the right way, and you know, the owner of the house said she just wanted to see how they go in. So that's cool, no problem. I walked in, I thought, I didn't think they're that close to the door. So yeah, she just knocked it through, and no problem. But like, that's don't, and you can see here, same thing. Like, you go groove to groove. The fuck, man, like, don't fuck with my shit here. This is not done right, you know. And you're doing this, and if I didn't notice and undo, if I came in and did the rest of this room and locked all this in to undo that, I would have had to undo everything. That, you know, go back, undo stuff to get this shit loose to get it right. I don't need that shit. It's not man, oh man. I'm putting a note here. Put a note right in the goddamn wood. All right, this is long enough. Thank you.